following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
And here we are.
Hello.
After a lackluster Super Bowl. Go ahead, Mike. Get it out of
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that, right?
No, not really.
What is there to say other than I'm going to repeat the chant that I heard driving home actually from the Super Bowl. Watch party. I wasn't at the game.
I was going to say, listen, look at this.
No, I was not at the game. Sorry. No,
Mike was one of the cardboard cutouts.
I was one of the cardboard, yes. No, I'm going to say what
he was one of the guys in the Weekend's halftime show with the bandages. That's why we couldn't tell.
Jeez. The chant that Bucks fans across downtown Tampa were chanting as I was driving home. Fuck the Chiefs.
Oh, well.
I can get on board with that as a Browns fan. I'm okay with that.
All class, all the way.
Yeah, right.
We didn't burn anything down, so.
Well, it hasn't quite been 24 hours yet. Give it time.
That was fun. Stayed up till couldn't get to bed until 3 in the morning because of all the fireworks. So that was a interesting thing. But I understand. Like, if you didn't have a horse in the race, it was probably a lackluster game. But being a fan of the Bucks, it was a fun time. To see this Chiefs team, this vaunted Chiefs team, just utterly shut down in every aspect of the game. It was amazing. And what else needs to be said? Tom Brady now has more Super Bowls than any single NFL team. So Greg, but no, Montana is not forever.
Yeah, you know what? I've got the perfect counter to this argument. I thought of it this afternoon. Okay. Yeah, you can say what you want about Brady, and fine, he's won 7 Super Bowls. When Joe Montana was starting for the 49ers, his backup quarterback, a guy that could not get into the lineup, is a Hall of Fame quarterback. That's how fucking good he was. So there you go.
That's not fair, though. You got to bench Joe Montana because you got Steve Young on the bench? Come on.
Well, I'm just saying, but no, that's what I mean. This was no Matt Castle or Brian Hoyer or.
Excuse me. Are you disparaging Blaine Gabbert? Super Bowl
I am.
champion?
As a matter of fact, yes, I am.
Blaine Gabbert, who has a Super Bowl ring now, and
isn't that something?
Yeah.
Dan Marino doesn't.
Him and Jimmy Garoppolo, the same amount of Super Bowls.
Yeah, Blaine Gabbert, Super Bowl champion, has as many Super Bowl champions as championships as Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers. So that's
and he's got more than Dan Marino, Dan Fouts.
Philip Rivers, unfortunately.
Philip Rivers, yeah, right.
R.I.P. Phil. But no, I think you just.
I'm
this
kidding,
is remarkable.
I'm kidding. Obviously, that was the best I had. That's all I had left. Was that? It's really something. It's the thing that got me, and I thought about this yesterday. I forgot to bring it up when we were all texting back and forth. But Brady went out and took away the one thing that Manning had over him, that he'd done it with 2 teams. He's like, "Fuck you, I'm taking that too," and that's it. There's really no debate anymore. The
thing with Brady is that I think the biggest thing that this disproved, I think the biggest thing that this whole season really disproved it, but I think this the Super Bowl put a cap on it, is that you can't say that Brady was just a cog in Belichick's machine anymore.
No, not really.
No. He went out and did it again. with a different team. Not only do you do it with a different team, 3 straight road playoff games, and if you count the Super Bowl in those 4 straight postseason wins, beat 3 former Super Bowl MVPs: Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, all just.
And then in the Super Bowl, he completed passes to former Patriots all night.
Rob Gronkowski. By the way, more piling
Gronk
on.
And AB. Don't forget.
AB, yeah.
Former Patriot great Antonio Brown.
Brady.
That was one of the. Come on, Zach. That was one of the greatest weeks in Patriot history. That week he was there.
Brady and Gronkowski, by the way, have surpassed Rice and Montana on the.
Listen to this guy. Were you a Patriots fan before all this, or what?
No, I hated them. It's heel turn, Greg. Heel turn.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if 1 year Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, and Antonio Brown all just signed with your team, and then you won a Super Bowl that year? Would that be cool?
I mean, okay. I'm gonna run this back. Which, by the way, the Chiefs failed to do the running back, but I'm gonna run this back. I seem to remember a lot of people saying that Leonard Fournette was kind of reaching the end of his usefulness.
Oh, sure. Whether it's Leonard Fournette or Tom Brady, we tried to declare Tom Brady as
dead
on the way out like 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, I've made a living on it doing that in this show.
Not only that,
yeah. Greg famously called him.
Done.
Greg famously said that
it was done.
I think he was washed up 3 Super Bowl rings ago, as far as I was concerned.
But not only that,
I know. But he looked great last night.
Not only that,
like Greg said, there's nothing more to add on to what Tom Brady is. The only comparisons you can make between Brady and anybody else now are guys in other sports. That's why last night was not fun for everybody else.
I heard the big thing that people were mentioning is that he's surpassed Jordan now with championships. Which
we need to let Andy get in here. I've heard a couple of uns. I got to hear what he has to say about this.
No. It's I wanted to give Mike his space. I know that Mike's been a Bucks fan for a long time.
Right, almost 14 months now.
Blow it all out your asses.
I need to go back and go to the record and find out when exactly. I know I will give him credit all day long. He made the switch before Brady ever even talked about going there. I know that.
No, I don't want to take anything. You know what? I shouldn't. Shame on me for being that guy. That's because you know what? I think it is shitty to be like, hey, I'm a fan of this team, and then they win a title. It's like, yay, you don't get to celebrate. You didn't earn it. Shut up.
But
that's all bullshit.
I will say that the big thing that I thought was really interesting is that, like, as Zach said, that you really can't, like, at this point you just have to compare it to other sports. Although I will say, and my dad will be very happy to hear me say this, there are still a few Montreal Canadiens who have more Stanley Cups than Brady does Super Bowls.
That's what I saw online, where people trying to bring up whether it was the Habs or the one that I saw the most, because it's a largely American fan base, is the people bring up Bill Russell.
Yeah.
And it's like for even the Habs, it's just different. Like, winning 10 Stanley Cups when you get all the best players in a 6-team league is not the same as trying to do what you have to do now in a 32-team NFL or a 30-team NBA. Whereas like Bill Russell won 8 in a row and 11 overall against 5'8" white guys.
Yeah,
that's not the same thing.
Bill Russell and Casey Jones and Wilt Chamberlain, like the only black guys that even played basketball back then. Everybody else was like 5'7" white dudes that did set shots.
So at this point, the only real comparison is probably Jordan. Like, maybe you bring in Babe Ruth or something like that. But like,
I've heard people
when it comes to on-field team sport.
When
it comes to on the field team sport numbers, like this is all you can do.
I hate this. This is stupid. Like, you can't compare it. Like I was thinking about this. It's really like incredible that Brady's won 7 titles. Very, very wild. Like that. But I was also thinking of like just watching the celebration last night. It felt so like, I mean, obviously I'm not a Bucks fan. I don't care. But like watching the celebration and stuff, it all felt very just lacking. And I don't think it had anything to do with the fans. I don't think it had anything to do with the COVID stuff. It just, there's something about a Super Bowl in, if anyone, I don't know if you, has anyone in this podcast seen a Super Bowl victory for their team? Like Mike, I mean, obviously you have yesterday, but like,
when I was the one before the Rams came back to LA, I was a Colts fan when they beat the Bears.
So I vividly but like so
in the rain in Miami, it was beautiful.
Sure, I vividly remember. But that feeling though of a Super Bowl, I'm guessing it probably didn't measure up to when the Ducks won a Stanley Cup.
No, in the Colts thing, I feel weird kind of claiming it because I was watching them, but like I'm not from Indy, I don't have any connection. I just liked the color of the uniforms and Peyton Manning, and they decided that's going to be my team. And I rode the ups and downs, sure, and it was great when they won, but it wasn't the same as the Ducks winning, or even the Angels winning, or the hell, even the Lakers championships are probably lesser to or more to me than that Colts win ultimately.
I don't have a lot to draw from except for the Buckeyes. They've won a couple in the last 20 years. The Indians have been to the World Series, 3 times, I guess. We know I'm not going to even go into the Browns. We all know about that. But of the championships that I've local ones, the one that meant the most to me was the one that's from the team that I paid very little attention to, which was the Cavs. Mm-hmm. And it was just really, and I can't even say I'm a Cavs fan, but for that moment, it was really something because you just felt like this whole, I don't know what you'd even, especially for Cleveland, but it was just really cool. And other than that,
What were you trying to get at, Andy?
My point was that, with a series, with a sport that takes place in a series, it feels like there's a lot more, it's a lot more earned. So like, Brady's won these titles and I feel like ever since he won his first title, he's essentially, pretty well been surrounded by exceptional talent. And it's not to say he hasn't steered that talent into excellence. And he is, one of the best winners of all time. Like, there's no doubting that. I don't think, record-wise, success-wise, and just cold-blooded, like, ability in the clutch-wise, you'll find a better player than him as far as the game of football goes. And, there's some metrics you can pull out of that to compare against Jordan and all these other guys. But I feel like it's so hard generationally to do it, one, but two, it's also like, because football doesn't take place in a series, it's these one-off games. It just doesn't feel as, I guess, cathartic or momentous when these things happen.
But you could say that the other way too, where he could have very easily lost as many of these as he won. Right.
True, and I guess,
but he won them at the end of the day.
He did, and I suppose that you could just as easily have a Super Bowl win is pretty awesome compared to like a 4-game sweep or a 5-1 series or a 4-1 series win.
I mean, from my own perspective, watching the Raptors win was
the Raptors.
Pardon?
I forgot all about the Raptors. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but no, watching the Raptors win was like a very meaningful moment to me as a fan. Obviously, I've been a Raptors fan longer than I've been a Bucks fan, so that all that played into it. And also seeing Toronto get a championship after a lot of the close but frustrating calls of the Leafs or the Blue Jays,
right?
Where it was like this really cathartic feeling, like all of the bad luck that this fan base has had, and one of our teams finally pulled it out with the Bucks. So like there were legit moments where like I was kind of overwhelmed with emotion when the Raptors won. With this, it was just far more of a celebratory, like, woo, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Mike, I think I can compare to you a little bit too, where like the Rams, when they went to the Super Bowl, I mean, they just came back. So I'm not like, I'm not like I wasn't as woven into like their the pain and suffering of the Rams franchise wasn't as like woven into me as the Ducks were, the Angels were, or anything like that, because they just got here. And so like I definitely felt like sometimes when the Rams were on their way to that Super Bowl that I was manufacturing it in myself to be like, I am excited for this because this is my team. Let's go. I think the only time I finally like reacted with like the way it finally felt was the NFC Championship game when they go to overtime. You can ask the people that were in the room. I was pacing like nobody's fucking business. And when they finally like went to the Super Bowl, I was like, holy shit! The Los Angeles Rams have come back and go to the Super Bowl. Wow! And even then, it was still kind of like, this is still new. It's like Mike said, that it's when you do well, it's celebratory, but when you lose, it's easier to kind of like slough off.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like when the Rams then summarily lost the Super Bowl, it was like, well, this kind of sucks. But I was kind of over it by the time I went to bed.
Yeah.
Whereas if the Ducks had lost the Cup final, I would have been pretty miserable for a couple days.
Yeah, if the Leafs make it to the Stanley Cup Finals and lose, I'm probably just going to be dead inside for a solid week.
I think you have to have that, I guess, for lack of a better term, that capital built up with the team. Like you've got to be in it, like to really get the full effect. And I'm sure, Andy, you got this with the Cubs when they won the World Series in 2016.
Right.
You've got to. I'm a Packers stockholder. I've always liked the Packers since I was a kid. But I'm going to be honest with you, it feels more like a business transaction than it does. Like if the Browns won the Super Bowl, I would cry like a fucking baby. I'm not even going to lie about it.
And I think that's another reason why this is different for like myself with the Rams or Mike with the Bucks. We haven't rooted for these teams since we were kids or anything.
No,
like, we're coming to this as adults with perspective and like understanding of how all this works. It's not so damn important.
Whereas it's very emotional with the teams that we have been following.
Right. Well, like with the Browns, I mean, I caught myself thinking like we can beat the Bills, and then we get to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's where I was at in that Kansas City game.
Yeah.
And I still, you know what though? I will tell you this. I think that the Browns would have put up a better fight yesterday than the Chiefs did, just because the Browns are more balanced than that. They can run.
Okay, so I was actually thinking about this, and to get into a bit, just to talk about the game a tad. I think the Browns absolutely would, and I saw people saying like, "Oh,
I don't know if they would have won." I'm not saying they would have won. I'm saying they would have put up a better fight.
Oh yeah. And I saw people saying like, "Oh, it's a good thing that the Bills didn't make it because like watching this happen to the Bills would have been depressing." It's like I think the Bills would have put up a bigger fight, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
I do too.
No, but the biggest thing, like all the credits to Brady as we've talked about, but like this game hinged on the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs O-line was held together with tape and
it was garbage.
And you've got to give that defense for Tampa Bay credit too.
I usually kind of roll my eyes whenever people go like the MVP should be the whole like insert blank here, but no, if there was a way to justify giving the Super Bowl MVP to the entire defense, then and this would have been the game for it.
And that's what's frustrating about the game a little bit last night too, is that you saw. A lot of football is all about these very easily read stories of teams coming back, or these teams, how they're built and put together and stuff. Yeah. I mean, Brady was, had a nice reunion thing with Gronk, and he was, he had some daggers to close the game out and push the score. And it was cool to see him, talking shit against the Honey Badger and everything. But like the Bucs defense just ruined the life of the entire Chiefs offense, especially. And you know what though? I mean, Patrick Mahomes with some of those incompletions. My God,
right?
Some of the best incompletions.
People trying to bury Patrick Mahomes in this game are either doing it just for the hot take, or they're idiots who didn't watch the game, because
that throw in the fourth quarter where he's literally diving to the ground, falling. He's horizontal.
He's still holding onto the ball.
And he hit a guy in the face mask with it.
Yeah, horizontal sidearm 30-yard pass into a guy's face in the end zone.
Patrick Mahomes' stat lines was not good for this game. But anyone who watched
the amazing Patrick Mahomes stat I heard, by the way, was
I think I know you did that.
He ran 497
Yes.
yards total last night.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tom Brady ran for like 37. Like that's not like total yards gained. That's him zipping around trying to avoid pressure and whatever.
Was
You
there?
But-
Were there injuries, by the way, to the Chiefs O line?
They were losing both.
guard.
They didn't have two of their starters were gone.
Because I mean, like it was instant. There was somebody in the backfield instantly. There was the edge rusher back there.
The left tackle for the Chiefs is the guy that gave up the safety in the Super Bowl Broncos Seahawks Super Bowl.
Yeah, and
Like,
then
this guy has been a turnstile for 8 years now.
And yet he still keeps getting back to the Super Bowl to be a turnstile in that.
He's got a lot of conference championship rings, I guess. I don't know.
In the AFC title game, the right tackle blew out his Achilles, and I think a guard was injured too. So it was clearly not like a full force offensive line for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and I think too that like you could have put Randall Cunningham's scrambling ability with Brady's brain and like Mahomes' arm, and you just put together the absolute perfect
quarterback,
and he still wouldn't have been able to do anything against that pass rush because
if you're on your back foot every single snap, from the time you get the ball in your hand, you're not winning the game. Like, and people are like, "Oh, this is the first time they've been held without a touchdown. This should, yes, all plaudits to Patrick Mahomes, but they still didn't score a touchdown." It's like, guys, the thing that people forget is because we always look at the stars and the talent and all that shit. If you can dominate the line of scrimmage, which the Buccaneers definitely did, both sides, they tore up the pass rush and they were able to run the ball very well. That's like 75% of the game, maybe 80% of like. If you can do that, you're gonna win the game. Like, win the line of scrimmage, win the game more often than not. And they did that easily, and it was. That's what kind of made this all so.
Oh yeah,
and that the Chiefs never got started, and beyond the pass rush, the amount of drop passes early in the game. Like, yes, Travis Kelce got his yards late, but like the early drop passes on like third downs or in the end zone, just so uncharacteristic of what they are.
I was really surprised by that because as this game was unfolding, I was kind of going like the Chiefs are playing like they haven't been to the Super Bowl before, right? Or like you see a lot of the stuff that they did that kind of cost them, drop passes, stupid penalties, and you're going like, this is the type of stuff you expect from like the team that hasn't been there before, and they're like racked with nerves. But this team won the Super Bowl last year, and it's mostly the same team. Like, it's mostly the same guys. So
I think go ahead. I was just going to say. No, go ahead.
So it was staggering to watch, like, this team kind of, fall apart like that. And going back to the earlier comment about why I agree with you, Greg, that I think the Browns would have put up a better fight, and I think the Bills would have put up a better fight, is because I honestly, like, I don't know if their defenses are necessarily as good as Kansas City's, but I think their defenses are far more disciplined than Kansas City's. And, people were pointing out like, oh, the Kansas City Chiefs got 95 yards of penalties in the first quarter. The Kansas City Chiefs, at least this incarnation of the Kansas City Chiefs, have always played that way on defense. They've always played very aggressively on defense. It's just that this was the game where they got called on it.
Well, that, and I think too that had they, I don't know if the officials felt sorry for him or what, but you had to think with that horrible offensive line, there was holding left and right, up and down, and all over the place on almost every play when they were on offense. But I think I was listening to Bill
Simmons.
I don't know if they did, Greg, because they were.
To hold them, they would have had to catch them first. You're right. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, fair point. But on Bill Simmons today, they were talking about. I think this might play a role in it too. For the Bucs. This, for most of these guys, other than Brady, this was the pinnacle. This was it. The biggest game they're going to play. Chiefs, it's like, yeah, we did this last year. I think that played a role in it. I think a little bit. Obviously, the offensive line is the biggest issue Kansas City had, clearly. Because like you guys just said, there really wasn't much holding because they ran fast you couldn't hold. You just had to watch them go by. I remember watching one highlight where the play where Mahomes fell down and threw like a strike to the end zone. Watching like the snap, and all of a sudden it was just nothing but Buccaneers chasing, and there was like no blocking really at all. It was just like watching a bunch of big guys in Chiefs uniforms chasing these guys that just ran past them.
But yeah,
really kind of funny.
I did want to just say that, you know, anyone who's saying that this game, you know, anyone who's saying that Patrick Mahomes, was terrible in this game did not watch this game. He did as best as anyone could do in that situation, and he had a couple of beautiful scrambles and passes that, quite frankly, you know, you just got to give it to him. That is just sheer talent. But yeah, the one guy on the forums who was saying like that Patrick Mahomes is going to fade away and he's a nobody. He's just a serviceable quarterback. It's like, you're a fucking idiot, man. Like,
is there a team in the league that would not trade for that guy right now? I mean, I'm talking everybody in the fucking league. From Brady, you think the Bucs wouldn't trade Brady for Mahomes tomorrow straight up? You know they would. Everybody would. Mm-hmm. He's not just a serviceable quarterback. That's Baker Mayfield. That's not Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. That's people that say that kind of shit. I sometimes I question their motives, and I'm just going to come right out and say it.
Oh no, absolutely.
If Patrick Mahomes were white, would you be saying that?
No, I'm also I'm gonna say I'm gonna double down on that because that same poster who mentioned that has been unnecessarily harsh on Kyler Murray. So it's like you don't seem to like black quarterbacks, do you? But Patrick Mahomes, you know, did as well as you could expect anyone to be in a situation where his offensive line was just shredded. So, like,
yeah, I mean, if you think about it, and I got to be honest, I think that the receivers that he hit in the face mask and stuff were like, there's no way he's going to get it past me, so I'm not even paying any attention.
Yeah,
and bam, you know, it's like no one. There's one guy in all of football that could make those throws, and we saw him do it yesterday. That's simple.
Well, my question about Pat Mahomes is that somebody I've had ESPN on the background, and I forget who said it, but somebody brought up an interesting kind of like math equation to this whole thing, where now that Brady has 7, it seems pretty impossible that anyone, at least of the quarterbacks today, can catch him, because it's a different idea with Mahomes now only has the 1 and Brady has 7. And yes, Mahomes has a lot of career ahead of him, of course, but it would be a different conversation if Mahomes had 2 to Brady's 6. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So not to say that it couldn't happen, because who thought the Patriots would be as good as they were for as long as they were, that they would have the second dynasty resurgence that they had late, that Brady would even go to the Bucs and still be productive at age 43. Excuse me. But I guess the Chiefs are just going to have to quote unquote run it back, right? Where they're just, it's kind of the Oakland Days thing where you're a really good team. You're a really good team, and you just got to go back at it and hope you win again, right? Like that's what you got to do.
I mean, you never want to say never when it comes to sports records, because, like, again, you know, I brought this up when people talk about hockey. It's like there was a period where people thought that Gordie Howe's records would never be touched, and then Gretzky blew right by him.
Hell, nobody thinks Gretzky records are going to get touched, and now it's like people are doing the math on Alex Ovechkin, saying, "Well, maybe."
But like the thing with but you know, so there might be some young quarterback in 20 years or something who like goes on this Brady-esque run where he's able to, you know, match or eclipse him. But of the current crop of guys, I definitely think Patrick Mahomes has the best shot. One, he's already got one in the bank.
Exactly, yeah.
And he did that in his second year. You know, he made it back to the Super Bowl in his third year. If anyone in the current crop of guys is going to match or exceed Brady, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. The only thing I think that is going to be holding him back is that contract, ironically, because once his bonuses kick in, Kansas City is going to have to get very creative with how they retain and sign players.
Well, Brady for years took the discount to allow the team to be good, so who says he can't? But
yeah,
hey, who knows? We could be talking about the 8 straight championships of Carson Wentz and the Bears, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I've been quiet. There's phone call shenanigans happening. I'm trying to like see what's going on. But I don't know what the hell's going on with Carson Wentz. There's nothing to report right now. And
you were going a bit crazy yesterday over it.
Well, I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, if they do end up, if they do end up getting, it's not every day the Bears make a trade for a fairly, substantial quarterback.
Yeah, for a former MVP candidate that blew out his ACL twice in his career already. No,
yeah,
not a big deal.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, everything. It's literally either that or we go to Nick Foles or draft somebody, and I don't know. Wentz has there's some upside, but it all depends on what is traded. Because if you give up like a pile of first round picks, a pile of picks for the guy, and get like nothing but Wentz in return, then fire everybody and burn the entire institution down. I just can't. I just want it to be over. I just want it all to be over. I don't. This franchise is so frustrating and stupid. And
I still say they need to dangle Nick Foles quoting Bible verses in front of the Texans.
Absolutely.
And that hyper religious guy who's running that team will just give the Bears Deshaun Watson and the remaining first round draft picks they have, just to get Bible thumping Nick Foles, and then the Bears end up winning it. So
I think going back to the whole Brady and Mahomes thing too, I think that, and look, I'm not saying that Brady was a system quarterback or whatever, but he played in a stable organization all those years in New England, and that Mahomes has kind of got that now in Kansas City with Reed and the whole thing. That's an important part of this. I mean, that's why the Steelers were able to win 4 when they did, and the Cowboys did it in the 90s, and the Niners in the 80s. You've got to have the full package. It really helps to have one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, like with Montana or, like the players that Dallas had. But if you don't, Brady could have ended up bouncing around and being like the latest version of, I don't know, who's a good quarterback that's played in like 5 different places now. I don't want to say Jay Cutler because I think he's a little better than
Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, maybe. But you know what I mean? It could have gone a lot of different ways.
Josh McCown.
Well, the great Josh McCown.
Future Texans head coach.
They're just why don't they just go ahead and get it the fuck over with and hire Governor Bible Gun and be done with it?
Governor Bible Gun for coach of the Texans.
It's President Bible Gun to you.
Right. I mean, come on. Isn't that where they're headed? Why are we wasting?
Pretty much, yeah.
Why are we messing around with this? Let's just do it.
I kind of always thought of the Texans as the likable Texas team because fuck the Cowboys.
Right.
But, the more I think, the more things have gone lately, it's like, well, Dallas, the Cowboys seem to embody the extravagant, like, we're going to party Texas lifestyle, whereas the Texans seem to be embracing like the suburban evangelical I'm going to call your mother on you side of Texas. And I don't know, I'm starting to think maybe the Cowboys side's more fun.
I'd be hanging out with the Cowboys all day long, but that's just me.
I mean, if nothing else, Jerry's going to put out a hell of a spread.
Well, I just think that because Andy posted that video in our text thread.
Yeah.
What's his name? Easterby?
Easterby.
Yes. Do you have that? Can we take a look at that and listen to a little bit of it?
I could find it. It's so cringeworthy.
We'll circle back to it, but yeah. I just think that. Oh, go ahead.
I say Easterby or the thing with if you're looking for like the most Christian quarterback to be, get to Houston, it would be Carson Wentz. Because I think Carson Wentz, here I got it here. Because Carson Wentz is just apparently he's religious to the point to where his teammates are a little like put off by it. But let's see. So this is like 2.5 minutes long. I'm not going to play the whole thing.
You'll get the gist of it in the first 30 seconds.
It's rough. It's rough. So
here we go. We ready?
I'm ready whenever you are, man. Throw it up there.
Here we go. There we are.
It's true.
Kind of hard to hear.
We actually get into God's word. I love crowds. Right? It's a blessing to travel all over the country, right? So on the West Coast, you go and crowds really tell you like the kind of people that are in that area. So on the West Coast, like you got the West Coast Brigade, and you get there and people are in the parking lot, like, got the surfboards on top of their Jeeps, and they're sitting there and they're like, dude, like the game's at 4. I'm just telling you, if the game will be wrapped up around 7, like we can catch a wave tonight. I'm just telling you.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Awesome, dude. Like,
yep, that's us.
I was just going to say, Zach, so how accurate is that representation of California?
That's our West Coast lifestyle. I just have a surfboard on my Jeep and say, hey, I can catch some waves after the game if the fish is up quickly. Yeah.
So I just assume if I go to Los Angeles, it's just going to be nothing but cars or surfboards.
Well, Zach, if we come out there, do you have a surfboard that we could borrow and go around going? Yo, dude.
Sorry, bro. Locals only.
Okay, just fair enough. I was just asking. I just wanted to see.
Sorry.
And meanwhile, I bet you if you ask this guy what it's like in Canada, he'd just assume that it's just nothing but.
Oh, you go up there and they're all like, "Hey, got some syrup, eh?"
Yeah, like this guy. Like I'm not even from, California, and I'm watching this and like, I'm watching this going. I bet this man has never even been to the West Coast. Like just the way that it seems like his entire conception of it was derived from like Saturday morning cartoons.
His whole vibe is that of a school, like if your school ever got together for like an anti-drug rally or whatever, and like it's like the guy who like flips the chair around and sits in it and is like, all right guys, let's rap about drugs.
Yeah,
the 45-year-old white guy who's going to do a hip hop routine about why drugs are bad,
who's never drank a beer, smoked a joint, or done anything harder than that in his life ever. But yeah, it's I watched that whole thing, and he pretty much hits on everybody. I think he got the South in there and California.
It's like that. It's like the who is the great Packers defensive end and Eagles. I don't want Reggie White. It was like Reggie White's weird race rant where he was like, white people are good at business, Asian people are good at machines and math. And it was just the whole time you're watching it, you're like, oh my God. Do you guys remember seeing this at all? Am I the only one that remembers this?
I have never heard of this, but now I desperately want to see it because it sounds amazing.
It is one of the more like strange videos.
Asians are good at machines and math.
Yeah, it was from the 90s. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can find the video, but I might be able to find
the point is that any NFL GM with half a brain could probably fleece the Texans easily.
Let's see. So he said, let's see. Okay, I don't want to misquote him here because it's obviously pretty pointed words. He said, blacks are gifted at worship and celebration. Whites are good at organization. Asians are able to turn a television into a watch. And now hold on, he's not done. And Hispanics can, quote, put 20 or 30 people in one home. Oh my God. Wow.
That was a comedy bit. Like if Dave Chappelle comes out and says that, you're rolling on the floor laughing because you know he's not serious.
But here you pretty much know that Reggie White believes all of this.
He said it's I don't know. He tries to clarify, like they asked him to clarify his statements, and he just kind of doubled down a little bit. It's really. Because I think it was overall he was there to kind of it was something about he was in Wisconsin and he was essentially saying homosexuality is a decision, it's not a race.
It's not a race.
I don't know. It's all.
That's like that old thing that kids used to think like, oh, when you're looking at a world map, you find the Isle of Lesbos.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, lesbians are from there, right?
That's every 15-year-old's dream, man. Come on. Sorry, I had to make the joke. See, I was being funny there. That was unserious.
Of course.
Yeah, but the joke had to be made.
Yeah, it was a really unfortunate. Like, I mean, if that speech or whatever he gave in the modern age, he would have been crucified for it. In the late 90s, it was more of like. Like, do you really?
I don't think he was. He obviously there was no social media to really go after him, but I don't think it went over well, if I remember right.
Oh no!
But,
I mean,
you sure? His
career was.
Give that another take.
I don't think he died like 6 or 7 years after that. He died in like.
Well, the thing is, I
just want to pipe up and say that I'm claiming Reggie White's Asian television watch for the GTOV.
Oh, fine.
Good call, Mike. That's wow, nicely done, man.
Well done. Yeah, that is good stuff.
Yeah, that's great. I don't think that was the only stuff like that he said either. I mean, I remember hearing other things, and that wasn't any of them.
But that was the only one I can remember. In Mike Walker, yes, there absolutely is video of it. That's where I saw it for the first time. I couldn't fucking believe I was watching. It's like, that's Reggie White, raspy, and just Japanese people can turn a TV into a watch, and it's like, hey, stop it. Yeah. So anyway, that's a fine video.
If you Google Reggie White Asian television watch, plenty of entries come up about those comments. That's good.
The bigger anybody do a rendering of it, because I'd like to see what it would have looked like.
Well, he foresaw the Apple Watch.
Okay, so
wow.
My God. The best part is that if you go to the Google image search, like they have this quote, people have posted this quote over like very inspirational backgrounds.
Oh, Reggie. Great. Well, so what was it again? So white people are good at what? Organizing and
white people are good at organizing and structure. And he was like, it was kind of funny because he was addressing a bunch of people in Wisconsin, mostly a bunch of white people. And he was like, you guys are real good at that stuff.
Well, thanks, Reggie.
I was gonna laugh. Was this at like sensitivity training, like racial awareness thing that he broke this out? Because that would be hilarious.
You know, it's funny. There was, this is kind of good. It's on topic.
It was to the Wisconsin legislature.
Oh my God! That's even better.
The Wisconsin State Assembly. He was expected to talk about community work and a recent trip to Israel.
Right, it wasn't planned.
He broke into an hour-long speech that included remarks on homosexuality, race, and slavery. That turned the Assembly's applause into stunned silence.
That's amazing. So, Mr. White, how do you, how are you? Okay.
He dropped this beauty. He said whites could not enslave other whites because they blended in. They couldn't enslave American Indians because they, quote, knew the territory and the Indians knew how to sneak up on people.
God.
But yeah, white people are good at building businesses, things of that nature, and they know how to tap into money.
Wait, wouldn't that okay? All right.
I like to imagine just he's like before the Wisconsin State Legislature, and like, Mr. White, how are you? How are your community outreach programs for the Packers going? And he's just like, the Asians can turn a television into a watch.
He's got. I've got the Asians building stuff. I've got the Jews working on the money. I've got.
I can't believe he didn't mention the Jews. I'm shocked.
But Andy, you realize he was listing all these things because this was his ultimate point, apparently. When you put all that together, guess what it makes? It forms a complete image of God.
Oh,
He later said his comments were about coming together as a society and we're not to stereotype the races.
That's
I'm claiming Reggie White's speech for the GTOV right now.
So this kind of segues into a couple of the commercials from last night.
Oh yeah,
let's get into that. I think everybody saw the game. We've pretty much covered it. So
yeah. I'm going
to pull up the USA Today ad meter because I can tell
there was one. Okay, the Tiny Horses one I did not see. Andy, if you would be kind enough to find that and post it, I would love to watch
that. Tiny Horses one was that was interesting.
Who was that for?
So here's the funny thing. According to the USA Today ad meter, it tracks how people rated these things overall.
Right.
That, despite that being a hit with my grandfather and with Andy's wife, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You're married?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. It was the fourth or fifth worst rated on the USA Today ad meter. It was for Klarna, which is like a online thing to help buy things online, but not all at once. You can buy it in payments.
Yeah.
Payments. And
so there were four tiny horses.
Right, and each horse, each rider on the horse, each what's her name?
Maya Rudolph.
Yeah. Each Maya Rudolph on the horse. One was making the first payment. One was making the second payment. One was making the third payment. Another made the fourth payment. So then they bought these boots.
Well, that the ad executive who came up with that one really earned there.
Let's take a look at it real quick.
So this I'm not going to have sound on it, but you just can get an idea by watching it here. They're like, there's Maya Rudolph, a bunch of she's riding horses.
Yeah.
But they each represent a payment, and look, there's four little tiny horses, and then there's the boots made for walking, but that's the whole thing. So tiny horses, that's the main deal.
Everybody made it sound like that was so great.
Well, that's the thing is like anecdotally I've heard people like it, but then you go to this rating thing and they all say they hate it. But what do you think is the worst? Because there was a clear worst commercial out of all the ones that were.
I know. My worst one was the Jimmy John's one.
Oh, people like that one.
See, okay, here's the thing. I
kind of like that one.
I thought like the setup was pretty good. I'm just really
John's.
I'm just really against any commercial where they go to this website to watch the rest of it. Like,
yeah,
go fuck yourselves.
I think I know which one was the worst.
What do you think, Andy?
I think it was the oat one.
Correct. The oat milk guy with the guy.
Oh my god, that was so just bad.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, people remember it, though. For as weird as it was, people remember it.
I mean, that's how this, like, as I'm like scrolling through the list. Yeah, the ones at the top, yeah, I remember those. The ones at the bottom, oh, I remember those. Then all the ones in the middle, it's like, oh yeah, that was a commercial. Huh.
Go ahead. I was just going to say really quick that Budweiser made this big ordeal about we're not running any commercials during the Super Bowl, and then we were inundated with Bud Light commercials.
Right, Budweiser did not make a commercial. Anheuser-Busch.
Well, that's like saying that Apple's not going to do any iPad commercials, but we're going to do iPhone commercials. It's like it's the same company, the same money.
Yes. But the idea was that they weren't going to do the Clydesdales for
why?
I don't know.
I like the Clydesdales.
I don't. The Clydesdale commercials, I could take or leave. I mean, they're sort of. It's one of those comforting things. It's
an American tradition sort of thing.
Yeah.
Why did they announce that they weren't going to do them anymore? Like,
I don't. It's something to do with frontline health workers. I mean, I think it was probably a good cause. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it just struck me odd that they made such a big production out of not doing Budweiser, and basically what it looked like to me. And I didn't sit and like count the ads or anything, but it sure seemed like they took all that money they weren't going to spend on Bud and put it into Bud Light.
Yeah, here I can tell you. I mean, there was as I'm scrolling through, there was the Bud Light seltzer. There was two Bud Light, just the one Bud Light seltzer lemonade commercial where it was raining lemons.
Right, which is stupid.
You had the Anheuser-Busch commercial, which was just, hey, let's get a beer and, unity and such.
Uh-huh.
And then there was the Bud Light Legends, where all these stars of past Bud Light commercials came out to save the Budweiser.
I haven't watched that one yet, but I thought it had potential.
It was okay. It was a little disappointing. Like I had seen like the preview, like because as you know, when you're watching football in the playoffs, they do like the big ad coming February 6th, and so they show you like a pre-version,
right?
Like a prequel. Mm-hmm. Is Michelob part of the Anheuser-Busch? Okay, well then we had Michelob Ultra had a commercial. Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer had a commercial.
That's what I mean. I guess I kind of get it that you took one of your biggest brand and didn't advertise it on. I don't know what the reasoning was. I think it was something to do with frontline healthcare workers, if I remember right. But you still, it wasn't like Anheuser-Busch was absent. And which I think would have made, if you're going to make a statement and you're donating money or whatever, to not be there at all, would be more noticeable than to be there, but just not with Budweiser and the Clydesdales. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it just seemed to me like that it was kind of talking out both sides of their mouth a little bit.
Yeah. The Bud Light Legends commercial, I think that was one of those. So have you guys ever heard of the movie Food Fight?
I've heard of it. I have not seen it.
It's a movie that came out like 10 years ago. It's a CG movie that's just riddled with product placement. It had like the tuna, the tuna fish, Starkist thing, the Vlasic bird, and Mr. Clean, and Count Chocula. They had a bunch of different brands. It was a dog shit movie, absolute dog shit. But the idea was that the sell of the movie is that kids will see these mascots that they know from these food products, and it'll be a big draw. So this Bud Light Legends thing to me felt like a little bit of a bite from the same apple, to where like it's like Wilson with all these guys will recognize these. Oh, like I saw that Bud Light commercial from 20 years ago or whatever. Like that totally takes me back. I think that they overestimated the affinity that people have for beer commercial like mascots or whatever.
My thought was that they just didn't use them effectively. Like they were all there for a quarter of a half second, and it was just.
It's a very small amount of time to get to see it. But what, they were lifting a truck that fell over was all it was?
Yeah, like
Let me ask the question. Where was Spuds McKenzie?
Was he in there?
I feel like he was mentioned.
I don't think he was there.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna do that ad, you need to like really go for it and make that like a minute long ad where the biggest hits all get their due. Like
right.
They had the Great Man of Genius. Is that what it was?
Real Man of Genius.
Like he was there and he did a quick bit, but it's like I didn't feel like I got the feel of it. Like that wasn't.
He had almost. I mean, he had more than really any of them. Than I felt like.
Yeah, he even had to do his thing twice. Yeah.
Yeah, because he closed the commercial as well, and it was
right.
It was funny.
He did one after the game too. After the Bucks had won, he did one after the game. I think in the post game show, he did like a full. That was all him. But yeah, I don't. Anyway, we don't want to get you don't want to get bogged down in the mud on Anheuser-Busch, but I just thought it was odd.
What was? What was your all's favorite commercial?
I liked Fuck Norway.
I didn't understand that one. But I was half paying. I spent most of my time when the commercials were on talking to our idiot listeners in the Discord. So I really wasn't paying close attention.
The idea was that GM is going to be try to up their amount of electric cars being made.
Basically, Norway beats the United States in terms of per capita electric car ownership.
Well, okay, I kind of like that then.
So they were like, "Hey, fuck Norway. We're gonna make and use more cars."
Okay, well now that I get it, I like it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I thought it was funny. I thought then none of them ended up in Norway, right? Like
no, they ended up in Finland and Sweden. Which
same thing, same difference.
Which I think is also the joke of like. General Americans couldn't tell you which one of the three is actually Norway.
Right? Yeah. It's all the same. The one commercial I didn't really have a favorite. I don't know. I definitely can't say I had a favorite. But the one commercial that stuck in my craw the most was there was the Bruce Springsteen Jeep commercial.
Yeah, right.
By the way, the Norway commercial was 6th on the ad meter.
Where did that Jeep commercial rank, Zach?
This Jeep commercial somehow was 12th.
Okay.
It was very just like
I got a laugh out of it because it starts like there's a cathedral in Kansas. I'm like, they're not having a really good night. They're not having a good time, are they?
In our group,
by the way,
in our group text, we threw out immediately like. You guys were speculating among whoever you're watching the game with, like, what, is it going to be a car, a beer, or like what's?
A few people I was watching. It's like we're like it's going to be beer, so it's a car. I thought jeans. Like I thought it was
Wranglers or something. Yeah.
If you played that exact same ad, without change, only at the end you just put like a Wrangler or a Levi's ad, like
Brett Favre.
Or Brett Favre, like it's Brett Favre instead of Bruce Springsteen talking about unity.
No, as he's walking down the street, he sees Brett Favre and they throw a football. There you go, Wrangler.
Right, and then it's about the copper brand,
The thing with the Jeep commercial, besides being one of those like we can make a better world commercials from a corporation that really just like sticks my craw. It's more of the like I get it that Bruce Springsteen has never been a commercial until now. He's, you know, a pretty
represents hard work in America.
Sure,
he's he's the first to admit he's never had a real job in his life ever.
Sure,
he's not a musician the whole way. Not well, he's not blue collar at all. The guy never has been.
Right.
He did a Broadway show where he made that same joke every day. He's like, people talk about me as this like hardworking blue. He goes, I've never had a job in my life. So I don't know where I get it. He writes about that kind of stuff.
But he writes songs about steel mills and
he has no perspective on that. I mean, and I'm not knocking the guy. He's got some good music, but well, he doesn't. So, but anyway, go ahead, Andy. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's all right. The thing is with what his message was like, because it was overall trying to be like, we need to find the exact middle. Like, the middle's like the messaging was, I get it,
America.
Well, it was the reunited, and it's difficult because the sentiment is fine.
Stop being so divisive, and
right. But it's also like, you know, I know for a fact that the guy that he is himself a pro-Biden Democrat person, and it's like, you know, don't come out here in this sepia tone dystopian wasteland America, wandering around, washing your hands in fucking dirt, and like talking to me about like how we should forgive all the people who like advocated for the Capitol riots because it's time to move on and come together. Fuck you, Bruce. You know, like that doesn't sit right with me. You know, you want to meet the middle about certain philosophical things, sure, but like I'm not gonna like I definitely feel like we shouldn't overlook or just forgive and just move on. Like,
sure,
fuck
but are you gonna buy? But are you gonna buy a Jeep?
That's the main question.
No.
My dick isn't big enough to buy a Jeep. Okay, like
that's what we were saying. This commercial, for all of its trappings, we were saying like, oh, definitely a Budweiser commercial. Oh, or definitely jeans or a car. And if you're gonna pick a car, it was gonna be like Dodge Ram or Ford or Chevy or something, not Jeep of all goddamn things.
Well, see, I knew it was a Jeep spot because I'd seen an article that he was doing a Jeep commercial. Right. So as soon as I saw him, I knew what it was.
And like I told you guys, and like I kind of thought with a lot of these commercials, and I kind of hate that this is the way it is now. I get spoiled for all the big Super Bowl ads in the week leading up to it because they all get put on YouTube pre-rolls or they get put on just anywhere on the internet. Like they start showing up, and it's like, well, I mean, that's the world we live in, but it's also like, can you like at least keep it in your pants until Sunday? Like, let me enjoy it on the day of, not like while I'm waiting to watch like somebody play video games on YouTube. It's not what I'm here for.
This feels like it felt like that one Super Bowl commercial from a few years back where it was like farmers, like the lifeblood of America. It was like this minute-long spot of how great farmers were, and then it's just like it's this loving soliloquy about farmers and the sacrifices they make, and then at the end, it's just like buy Dodge Ram.
Right? Yeah. I mean, that's like I said when we were texting. I said, solve the world's problems, buy a Jeep. I mean, that's basically what the message was, right? Or solve the country's problems, buy a Jeep.
You know, and
what about Tony Romo's weird shoe commercial?
I didn't see that one.
Skechers,
Skechers.
Yeah. Whatever. You know, to me, that's just the guy making a buck.
Let me read the bottom of this list, and then we can look at the top of the list and we can talk about other stuff, I guess, too. So the bottom of this ad meter list of the 57 new Super Bowl ads that we saw, Oatly, Wow Wow No Cow was the last one, followed up by Robin Hood, which had, you know, a great couple of weeks for its publicity.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably should have really thought about like pulling that spot at a certain point. Mercari, which was like selling your stuff app. I don't know.
Okay.
Tony Romo's for Skechers was 54. Then the Klarna with the Maya Rudolph tiny horses. Guaranteed Rate was 52.
Yeah, they're just looking to get a stadium deal somewhere.
Well, they have them though.
The White Sox.
Yeah.
Oh, is it still? Are they still? I thought they were done with that. They moved on. Okay, cool.
I remember that commercial being weird when I was watching because it's like, oh, get inspired, buy home insurance. Like, okay, go climb. If you buy home insurance, you can go climb a mountain. Like, okay.
Speaking of climbing a mountain, Paramount.
Yeah, we'll get to them in a second. And then like a generic Disney Plus ad, which is like generic. That was the bottom. And then as I'm kind of going up through the list. The teaser for M. Night Shyamalan's new movie, Old,
Yeah.
Weird. But that's M. Night Shyamalan at this point. Let's see. Is there anything else that stands out? Oh, I'm surprised this is so low. 4 seasons total landscaping and press venue for Fiverr. I don't know what
yes.
Fiverr is.
I didn't see that one. I'm so bummed.
4 seasons total landscape. Oh my god! It was so. It came out of nowhere, and I was very.
I missed it. I completely missed it, and I'm so bummed.
It wasn't. It was confusing more than anything because, like it's like, what? Why is that on TV again? But it also feels strangely dated. You know, like it felt like it was just a little bit behind everything. You know,
well,
it almost felt like a Chuck Norris joke.
The world's moving fast these days, and yeah, I mean. Just to give you a prime example, the Bernie Sanders meme popped up. It was like all the rage and gone in like 2 days.
Sure, and that's the internet, man.
Look, I was
perfectly fine. Really.
Look, the world can move as fast as it wants. I'm never going to forget the majesty that was Rudy Giuliani screaming like a madman at a landscaping place because they couldn't book a hotel.
Who's got that in the GTOV, by the way? Anybody?
No, well, it was in the
that's right.
Tournament of Disgrace.
Yeah, that's right.
So there was like 4 or 5 different Paramount Plus ads. Which
they were but that's not the bumps. There were a whole bunch because they were bumping back to the game with them too. Remember?
They were chronicling all of the various Paramount corporate owned things, which is CBS and MTV and
which basically amounted to Star Trek and Beavis and Butthead, and then shit you don't care or haven't heard about.
Yeah,
right.
I thought for a thing that like. When it comes to, I think we've talked about this before, where like streaming is just so difficult because you don't know where anything is anymore, or like, like you say, well, HBO Max has HBO, but it also has like Big Bang Theory, and it also has Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and like it also has some things that are owned by Warner Brothers, and some of those Warner Brothers things are also elsewhere. So it's kind of confusing. This is the thing that with Paramount Plus is that Paramount Plus already exists. It's CBS All Access, but it's going to be roping in all the other Paramount Viacom properties and rebranding into Paramount Plus on March 4th. So I actually thought this was kind of effective advertising to be like, see all these things? Do you like these things? They're going to be on this next month.
Yeah. I didn't think it was a bad campaign at all. It was just, a lot of it.
For me, it's just like I'm kind of at the point where I just don't need more streaming services. Like there was
this is definitely one too many.
Yeah, there's a case
3 too many.
There was a case where like there's a show that I wanted to watch, and I looked it up like where can I stream it, and it was like Binge, and I'm like I've never heard of it, so I went to the website, and it's like Binge, like the hot new streaming service, and I'm like I was like. I don't want to watch the show. That I'm just gonna pirate it. Fuck it. And it's just
let's take inventory here. Okay, I'm assuming we all have Netflix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. I think Netflix is still the leader in the clubhouse for.
Yeah. What about Hulu? Who has Hulu?
I have Hulu.
I've got Hulu as part of the Disney Plus ESPN Plus bundle.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah. I split a Hulu account. I split a Hulu and an HBO Max account with a friend.
All right. Well, I have at the moment. I've got YouTube TV, Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, which is my girlfriend uses Amazon, like the delivery thing and all that. So we get the Prime Video basically just as an added bonus.
Right. It almost doesn't. That one almost doesn't count for the most. Yeah. It kind of. Sure. Let's count it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
I've got Peacock because Battlestar Galactica was on there, and I'm like, well, I'll pay $5 a month to be able to watch that whenever I want. But you know what? I'm paying $5 a month for something that I only watch when I go, oh, I should watch some Battlestar Galactica. That's it. And that's like once a month, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I've got Netflix, which I don't even watch as much anymore. But like, if you don't have Netflix, like
you're nobody.
Yeah. Like I need to have it for stuff that when it comes back, or if I want to watch something randomly. Disney Plus, which comes with Hulu and ESPN Plus. Got HBO. Well, I've used my girlfriend's family's HBO Max, and then I also have Peacock for Premier League games. And then it's nice now that like The Office and Parks and Rec are also on there. So like if I need something to just throw on in the background, I will. But I hardly use it for anything other than that.
We got it too because my girlfriend likes that show Yellowstone with Kevin Costner. So we got it for that too.
And then I also have Prime Video. but again, I mostly have that for Prime.
For the other part of Prime,
right?
Not the video part of it. Yeah,
so
same
that
here.
that alone is $7 for me, and that's not including like Apple TV Plus is out there.
I forgot I've got Apple TV Plus too, but I got a free year of that when I bought an iPod for my motorcycle.
Same. Yeah.
I've got Netflix, I've got Hulu, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus. Those are bundled, and then other than that, I've got Apple TV, and that's me.
You know, Mike, real quick, I'm going to take a little sidetrack here. That show that you told me to watch, For All Mankind, that I said I wouldn't watch because of the Russians, that show's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's good, right?
It's really good. Yeah, I can't wait for second season. I think it's supposed to come out this month.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I don't know where we're going with this, but
I'm going out to the top of the list. So like, Coming to America, the sequel to Coming to America.
I got to be honest, I don't have high hopes for that.
Yeah, probably not.
Low expectations is a safe thing with that. You know, I feel like, you know, for as shitty as Eddie Murphy's career has kind of been for the last 20
Pluto
years.
Nash.
Well, that was like the beginning of the end for his poor career.
What was the Netflix movie he made?
About the guy,
the stunt guy.
I heard that was actually kind of good. Actually.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't bad. It shows you how good it was that I can't remember the name, but it was good. I enjoyed watching it.
It was about the guy that made. He was.
Was it Dynamite? No.
Yeah.
It wasn't called Dynamite. It was called like something Omite. I can't remember. Dolomite.
Dolomite
is my name.
Yes, that's right.
Very
enjoyable. I would recommend to go find it on Netflix.
Yeah, he made that the guy that's based on made that really horrible movie. That's but I haven't seen it yet. I'll have to watch that one.
Let's see.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Wayne's World for Uber Eats.
That was trash. Set that
up.
That
was horrible.
That depressed me as I believe one of you guys said.
It was double layered because it was this whole ugly like buy local products. It's like you are a giant corporation who kills local products with your pricing, and it's awful. But then you had like an 87-year-old looking
Mike Myers,
who looks like he just got out of Botox surgery. He looks.
And then you had Cardi B. Yeah,
Andy, was it you that said that Mike Myers looked like he just got out of the burn unit or something like that?
Yeah, like he just had facial reconstruction surgery after a major burn. Like,
we also had a Cadillac commercial with Edward Scissorhands, but it was Edward Scissorhands' kid, as played by Timothy Chalamet.
I like
Winona Ryder reprising her role as the mom now.
Yeah,
I didn't find that. That was too bad. Yeah.
What was this? It wasn't Edwards. It was Edmund.
Something. Yeah, that was fine. I think I just have a soft spot for Winona Ryder. She's just kind of, you know, I enjoy her presence back in the world, you know.
So they played this at the beginning of the game, and then they did it again, like weirdly in the middle. But what did we think of hologram Vince Lombardi?
Bad.
That was fucked up.
That was really weird, right?
Yeah.
Holograms
of dead people, just no.
They're spooky. It's not right. I mean, they do it. There's a couple of classic rock bands that are doing that now. They're taking it out on the road, like Ronnie James Dio. I don't know if you guys know who he is.
Yeah,
but they're planning. They had it planned until COVID hit, but they're going to do this thing where they're going to go out with a band. They've got tracks that they've got it all figured out. He's going to be the lead singer of this band as a hologram. And people are like lining up to see this. It's like, you get that's not him, right? And it's just
like you can just watch it on YouTube. It's the same thing.
It's spooky and weird. I don't like it. It's just strange.
It's the whole like weird middle area of like having what is it? Having Luke in Mandalorian. Spoilers. Yeah. Like it's just sort of like this weird thing.
But he's not. But Mark Hamill isn't dead. So
but I'm saying like you can have, you know, there's might be this weird future where like in 20, 30 years it might be very normal to be like starring George Clooney's face. And you know,
you've got like Humphrey Bogart, George Clooney, and I don't know,
not gonna
Ryan
lie.
Gosling all in the same movie.
Not gonna lie, in 30 years I'd love to watch a sequel to Batman and Robin starring George Clooney's holographic face.
Like, right now, I have ESPN on, and they're playing the Al Davis 30 for 30 that just came out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like watching it because I'm obviously talking to you guys, but they have two actors that are playing deep fake Paul Tagliabue or not Paul Tagliabue,
Pete Rozelle.
Pete Rozelle, and deepfake Al Davis.
Yeah,
and it's kind of odd. And they keep every time they show them on screen, they're like purposely kind of in the shadows, so you can't.
Sure.
Tell
What? So what?
CGI.
So what? Like early '60s NFL meetings all took place in the Illuminati conspiracy room, where it's
Right.
No,
they're basically acting as the narrators. So they have these actors that are placed throughout the Raiders' new stadium, and they cut to them for like interstitial cuts between archive footage and stuff like that.
Yeah, like one of the scenes takes place in
I actually want to watch that
flame
anyway.
that flame thing that they made for Al Davis in the new stadium.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, you know, the deepfake technology. And it's. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Zach.
Number 14 was the Tide detergent Jason Alexander hoodie.
Oh, I liked that one.
I didn't like that one at all.
I could take it or leave it.
But speaking of though, at the end of the commercial, when you see the real Jason Alexander, plastic surgery, left, right, and up and down. It was
that was makeup. I feel like they gave him a ton of bad makeup.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I've seen him in stuff, and he looks pretty normal.
That commercial was great if you got the reference behind the song.
Yeah, my wife is a big Seinfeld fan.
That's the believe it or not, George isn't at home. That's the answering machine.
Believe it or not.
Oh, nice. Well done.
I know that, but I just didn't make the connection as I saw the commercial. Okay, yeah.
Which is actually, does anybody know what that song's actually from?
It's a TV show, isn't it? TV show intro?
It's Perfect Strangers, I think. No.
Greatest American Hero.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. Yep.
What the fuck kind of that show? I feel like it's like that show should be the theme song for like a pair of hard luck women in Milwaukee.
Right, like the golden, like Laverne and Shirley is the Golden Girls or something, right? Yeah,
right. Anyway, where are we at, Zach?
We're near the top. So number 11 was the DoorDash Sesame Street ad.
Sure,
whatever.
Number 10 was the Bud Light Seltzer Lemonade with the falling lemons that we documented. Number 9 was the Doritos Matthew McConaughey thing.
Okay, that one was strange.
Where he was flat until he ate the 3D Doritos.
I ate a 3D Dorito, man. Now I'm fully fleshed out.
All right.
I will say, I am so down for a series of Dorito commercials where Matthew McConaughey just philosophizes wistfully like he does in the Lincoln commercials. Like, just like have
nothing gives me the rush.
I want Matthew McConaughey
late drive than a Dorito.
I want Matthew McConaughey sitting in a chair by a window, looking out like in the middle distance as he just like talks in Southern witticisms and eats Doritos.
My daddy used to tell me that there ain't nothing like a bag of 3D Doritos when you're trying to masturbate late at night in the
Cool Ranch. Cool Ranch.
Number 8 was State Farm with Drake from State Farm.
That was hilarious because it's like, hey, Patrick Mahomes should have practiced a bit more instead of making State Farm commercials.
Well, you know they film all these commercials.
I know.
The Cheetos commercial with Shaggy and Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. It wasn't.
It was fine, I guess.
Cute. Number 6 was the Norway commercial. Number 5
I like it now that I get it.
Number 5 was the Toyota commercial with the girl with the amputated legs.
Oh yeah, that was actually had some like nice substance to it.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
You mean it actually had some substance to it instead of Jeep's like...
You mean it wasn't just a cynical attempt to get us to buy a car?
I mean, it kind of was, but it was also like, I could see,
I'm okay with trying to sell me a car if you're going to tell me a nice story too, but...
Well, it's a real story, though. It's a real story.
It's a real story. It's not fucking Bruce Springsteen out in the middle of Kansas being like... We gotta come together for America and buy cheap cars.
That commercial came on and he hadn't said a word yet. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Bruce. He hadn't even opened his mouth anymore. Just shut up.
You know what's inspirational? Buying a Toyota.
Yeah.
Number 4 was the M&M's commercial with the I'm sorry I called you Karen. Karen's my name. I'm sorry your name is Karen.
Right.
Wow. Okay, that's kind of timely a little bit, or at least contemporary.
I don't know. I got a laugh out of the guy leaving the church confessional going like, I'm sorry you had to hear all that.
Yeah.
I didn't see that one, but it sounds good.
Number 3 was Amazon with Michael B. Jordan.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was good.
That was my favorite.
Yeah,
of the day.
Did not see that one. Sorry,
that was pretty racy, if I recall.
Yeah,
he's taking his shirt off at one point.
Well, it's like he like walks outside and the sprinklers are on. He's like, it's getting a little bit too wet out here. Where his wife is like lusting over Michael B. Jordan. It's like, holy shit.
And then somehow these are the top two.
Okay.
Number 1 and number 2 were the Rocket Mortgage commercials with Tracy Morgan.
Really? Oh, okay. Yeah, I kind of like those. I'm not
pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I like the premise of that. Yeah, that was pretty good.
I thought it was fine, but like to say those are the top 2 ads of the entire game was.
Weird. The Scientology didn't make this list. Come on.
Well, these are the national ads. So Scientology's ads only ran in some of the big markets. So LA, like that's why ours ran at different times because you guys got the one down in
Tampa,
like early in the game, and I didn't get mine until like the third quarter.
So we're all going to convert, right?
Well, absolutely, yeah.
We're all joining the Church of Scientology. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't even a commercial for Scientology. I think it was a commercial for Scientology TV.
Yeah.
Who is subscribing to Scientology TV? Who isn't a Scientologist?
I think it's on DirecTV.
Yeah, no, like I said, I was scrolling through the high numbers one day because I was looking for something, and I was like, "Is that Scientology? Oh my god!"
Yeah, Mike, when I was working on TV, they sent out a media package to us every week, trying to get us to pick up their shows and carry them.
So Zach, as you watch Scientology TV, what did you learn about your thetan levels?
Oh, not nearly high enough to get to Thorpe or whatever the hell.
You don't have enough money. They're supposed to be low for you to move up, not high.
Sorry. Well, you need to start upside down. That's my problem.
You need to submit. Oh, by the way, there was a commercial I think that had John Travolta in it.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Scientology.
Yeah, it was a very nice little conjoinder there, but he looked. Ever since he embraced the bald, he looks better. Good for him. Crazy, weird Scientology bastard, but I think the Scientology.
Oh, that was
network,
for freaking Scott's Miracle Grow, wasn't it?
It was for okay. Let's back this up. John Travolta's in a Super Bowl ad, and he's not even in the Scientology. Like Church of Scientology. Like this has nothing even to do about your beliefs or practices or whatnot. You've got John Travolta, who's willing to be in a Super Bowl ad.
You got Tom Cruise. Come on.
Well, I don't know how closely you guys follow this nonsense, but I guess when they got Cruise, they kind of kicked Travolta to the curb because Cruise is clearly the bigger star of the two.
Wow, they demoted Travolta when Cruise came. Oh, that's rough.
That's some cold shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
The ad that wasn't on here that I thought was one of the more effective ones as well was that Reddit ad that showed up for like 5 seconds.
I
didn't see that.
Don't even remember it.
No.
I think I still have I'll send it to our text group chat. Basically, what it's 5 seconds of like a Reddit pane, like a Reddit panel, and it says exactly what they did. They through their entire marketing budget allowed them for one Super Bowl, 5 second spot on the Super Bowl. So like there was a little glitch like thing that showed up, and then the pane, and then the glitch out. Like it was like Reddit was hacking into your broadcast, as it were, to show you like this little like, hey, this is what happens when we can all come together. And you know where you can come together to talk about stuff? Here on Reddit.
Okay, that's fine, I guess.
And it was like it catches your eye because it's only up there for like three total seconds, with the 1 second on either side being the glitchy video look.
This come together stuff needs to stop. I've had it up to.
Well, it wasn't even a coming together. It's like, hey, you want
taking the brave stance of anti-unity.
It's all posturing horse shit. This whole unity thing where you come together and talk about it. Well, yeah, but then Reddit, they've banned and closed up like any and all Trump or QAnon related subreddits, and rightfully so, because they're fucking lunatics and they shouldn't have a platform. And then I
disagree with that, and I'll tell you why. It's not because of the reasons you think. I think that the last thing you want to do is drive these idiots underground. I think put them right up there where everybody can see them, and then nobody takes them seriously. Well, some people take them seriously, unfortunately, but you know what I mean. That's my argument against it. But I understand your position though too.
They're also in a spot.
Where
because they policing of their stuff, and they have a terms of service. If they let that sort of stuff go unchecked, they could get sued for
the reason a lot of these accounts and subreddits got banned after the Capitol riots was social media companies going like, oh shit, like some of these idiots might have actually been using our platform to plan it.
Yeah.
And now if we don't take action, we're liable for it.
I know. I totally get where Andy's coming from, and I don't disagree. I just like I said, I just think that the one thing that these morons need is to have as much light shined upon them as possible.
Well, Parler's still down, so
no, Parler came back up.
Parler's back, yeah.
Resurrected him. Yeah.
The servers for Parler are legitimately now hosted in Russia, so they can say whatever.
Yes.
Oh, well, that worked out nicely, didn't
it? Circle completes the square on that shit.
The last thing I guess from the game that we referenced it was halftime show.
Oh, I was going to get to that next, actually.
I don't give a shit about.
I don't get the bandages. I thought, well, I don't know.
So,
I didn't get it, but I liked it.
So the bandages are a thing that he's been like trotting out at a couple award shows recently.
Why?
And it's a commentary on Hollywood being all about looks and whatever.
Oh, okay. I can go along with that.
Because this was, I forget if this followed up or if it was preceding. He also did another appearance at an award show where he had a bunch of prosthetics on his face that looked like he had some dramatic plastic surgery done. But
if I could just say it, I like The Weeknd's music, but this was not a good show. This was not a good.
Well, the thing that he has good music, but something I heard. God, who was it? I don't know. I've listened to so much crap. They basically said that like if you're gonna do the Super Bowl halftime show, you kind of have to do more than just be the singer. Like you have to be a singer and a dancer. You have to be a singer and the musician. Or if you're not going to be doing that, you have to bring somebody else in to like give you that pop and give you something else to look at. When it's just you're the guy that sings the music and then there's stuff going on around you, it's not really enough,
right?
Especially after last year's show, which was a fucking spectacle.
Right. Well, and I think like the comparison would be like the Katy Perry show, where she's not really a dancer, but they had stuff going on.
Well, you had Left Shark. Come on.
Right. But at least then we had Left Shark and we had a giant robotic golden lion.
Yeah.
That was
I think the problem with halftime shows too is that when you up the ante with like hidden secret performers and stuff, you kind of make people want that again, to where it's like, what's the surprise going to be? Unadvertised surprise going to be?
And then when it doesn't happen, you're just like, oh, it's just The Weeknd.
Right.
Okay.
And it's,
I think bring Paul McCartney back and a couple of holograms of John Lennon and George Harrison do a Beatles reunion. There you go. That would be big.
He did this whole thing about like they only gave him so much budget and he had to pay $7 million of his own money. So because he had this own vision that he wanted to fulfill. And it's like, that was what you spent all the money on? I don't know where it was. Because it was also weird where like, instead of it being a stage in the middle of the stadium like it normally is, it was just up on the one side of the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did part of it inside that stage. So that was all just on video. And then he ran out into the middle of the field with all of his bandage buddies to do his current big hit, which was the best part of the show, was the end. But the rest of it was kind of weird. And I know I said the sound was off to me, but I guess that was just my TV.
No, I can see what you're saying. When you talk about that, I didn't mention it. I didn't want to be redundant about it because it's like, the vocals were a little silent, and there was some debate among us about, because a lot of Super Bowl is pre-recorded for, especially if you're dancing and doing a bunch of other stuff. But I felt like he did sing. But again, like this was because it's The Weeknd, and maybe I'm just old, and I just don't know what the kids. Go ahead.
Well, the thing with The Weeknd is he already kind of has like soft boy vocals as it is, right? And that you can get that good in a studio, but not so much in that setting, I guess.
I mean,
I would say that he probably. I'm not saying he didn't sing, but when you're doing a broadcast like that, which is that complicated, you can't leave it to chance. So he was singing over a track of himself singing, basically.
Yeah. No, and I could definitely hear that.
Yeah. Which is fine. I mean, I get it. I'm a purist when it comes to music, but for something like that, You can't ask the Who about just going out and playing straight live. I mean, it was a disaster for them because they had amp troubles and it was just a mess. So
they didn't even break a guitar.
No,
they couldn't. They would have hurt themselves.
Yeah, right.
That to me was like that was one of the better eras of Super Bowl performances. Not because I particularly care about the Who or the Rolling. Did the Rolling Stones do a show?
Rolling Stones, yep.
Yeah.
Like it was this immediate harsh correction from the Janet Jackson fallout,
right?
Where they were like, let's get safe. We're bringing back these standards, and it's like, no, we can't. They're like literally 80, 90 years old. They're very frail, and then you bring them out there in HD, and suddenly it's like, oh my god, like you guys need to stop. Like this shouldn't be on TV right now. I don't want to see this. Yeah. But the weekend is, I get it. It's kind of like a Bruno Mars-ish type thing to where it's like, people like they're great performers, whatever. Sure. That's fine. Put on a show and entertain me. I'm just going to go take a shit and forget the whole business anyway.
I don't think it was a very good show, but I do think that people are overreacting to how bad it was. It was definitely better than the Black Eyed Peas,
I thought, now that I know what the bandage has been, I dig it. I like that he's doing that. That's cool.
Then there, it was better than the Black Eyed Peas. And just remember, it can always get worse for Super Bowl halftime shows. It can always be Up With People.
I think you should bring Up With People back just as a troll thing, if nothing else.
Just 1 year, do Up With People?
Up With People. Like the 50th anniversary of Up With People or something.
They should totally do a mega throwback to like marching bands and have like a halftime parade type thing. That'd be kick ass if you would like some of the best marching bands in the country do a sweet routine. Yeah. I'd be totally down
some of those like the Grambling band, and I forget the other one. The it's a bit they play like they're a Division II or whatever they call it these days, both schools, but their bands are fucking amazing. And like the highlight of watching that game on NBC every year is to watch the bands at halftime. Bring those guys in, man. That would be awesome.
Sure. But, or even like I would sooner watch like one of those awesome NBA half court contests before I just watch a Super Bowl halftime show for sure. Give me that any time of the week.
Bring back the punt, pass, and kick from back in the 70s when I was a kid.
What did you guys think of the duet anthem?
Oh, that sucked.
Yeah.
Like I have a
bring back Luther Vandross.
Well, I have a very pretty hardline thought about national anthem performances. Like, I don't mind that you put your own emphasis into it, but don't change the goddamn arrangement. Like, at a certain point, it doesn't even sound like the song you're supposed to be singing. Like, the words are there, you're using the right lyrics, but the song does not sound the same as it's supposed to. So I didn't particularly care for it.
I like that. What was her name? Her that did the America the Beautiful.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that? That was killer.
Yeah,
she was so good. And then after that, she just wails on the guitar. I'm like, fuck. Nobody should be allowed to be that good. You can either be a good singer or a good guitar player. You can't be both. Sorry.
Yeah, she was good. The anthem.
I feel about it.
She was excellent. The anthem was just forgettable in all the worst ways. It's completely forgettable.
Michael Walker got the punt, pass, and kick. Look up Andy Reid punt, pass, and kick when he was a kid. It'll crack you up.
He was a.
Oh, by the way,
bigger than I am now.
How did we not mention the Chiefs calling a timeout, giving Tom Brady more time at the end of the first half? That was some low key classic Andy Reiding with
that was
timeout management.
Andy Reid deep cut.
Was it Tampa Bay's timeout?
No,
when they came
they called two.
Yeah,
they called two.
And you can't forget, we didn't mention the Tyreek Hill peace sign thing at the end of the game. I kind of felt like he had to kill. Yeah, the asshole has gloves with the peace sign in the gloves, and it's just get fucked. But so what did you guys hear about this whole business with Andy Reid's kid, the drunk driving car?
That CBS didn't mention until there were 3 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, they were being very careful. I mean, it makes sense because there was one of the kids, I guess, is probably. I mean, I think they're both still in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're in fatal condition.
It's not looking.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It was like a huge wreck. It was
there's critical condition, or there's no hope they're going to die.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have
this condition's pretty bad. It's like, oh,
I guess the last I heard was that the 5-year-old that was involved is like hanging on to life. So I mean, I don't know, but it's a terrible thing. But it's one of those to where he's been involved in drunk driving before. I think he's had a DUI before, and it's I don't know. It's obviously we don't know all the evidence or anything like that. But if a guy is drunk driving and he avoids prison time or some major essentially justice being done because he's the son of a prestigious coach, then we've got some problems.
Yeah.
Well, my feeling on I've never understood this, and like I used to work with a person who had, I think, 4 DWIs before I started working with her, DUIs, and then she got a 5th. And like in Ohio, a 5th DUI is like almost the firing squad. But she somehow managed to get our idiot speaking. We talked about radio people earlier, Andy, on Twitter. Got our idiot general manager to write her a note saying that she was vital to the station, which she wasn't, by the way. And she ended up able to drive on her 5th DUI. And to me, maybe I'm just being too harsh about this. You get 1, I think you should be done. That's it.
I tend to agree with that. There's a lot of stuff where you can say like you shouldn't do this, but ultimately, you're only harming yourself if you do it. So there's but like when you get behind the wheel of a car drunk, like you are endangering everyone else.
That's what I mean. You drive your drunk ass off a cliff in your car. I don't give a fuck. But when you're on the roads, you could kill me, and then I get concerned.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently, it was a 3-vehicle crash. There was a disabled vehicle on a ramp. Let me see. There's a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old were. So I guess 2 cars were stuck, or crashed, or something, like disabled, and they were like pulled off to the side, and then Reed smashed into them with the Dodge Ram.
Jesus.
So there's a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old in the hospital, and the 5-year-old is still in critical condition. He's got a brain.
No, he should go to jail. I mean, it's simple as that.
It's a 5-year-old girl, and she is not awake. I guess she's in a coma, major brain damage. They've got a GoFundMe going. So we'll see, I guess.
No, absolutely. And if I am, this is Andy Reid's kid. If I'm not mistaken, this is like not the first time that this guy has had problems like this. So.
Didn't one of his sons die from drugs or something like that?
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't think so.
Yeah, he had like some sort of overdose problem. I thought.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I don't want to say anything overly judgmental about the guy, because all I heard and read was that he said he had a few drinks and he smelled like alcohol, and obviously he caused the wreck. And if he, I just I worry that in a few months this will just kind of be forgotten. What?
No, I was just going to confirm that Andy Reid's other son had overdosed on heroin and died.
Score. Well, we need to talk about something happy to finish out the show, because
I just want to finish that up by saying, look, if he hurt a couple of kids, I don't know how drunk he was, but he was under the influence. Come on, man. We got to stop slapping these people on the wrist. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing people with 3 DUIs pulling a bunch of bullshit strings and being allowed to drive still. And, I ride a motorcycle, so it's like dangerous enough for me under the best of conditions. And to have these fucking morons out there driving drunk, I've got no patience for it. I can't abide by it. So anyway, move on to something happier.
Well, I added a couple final things, possibly final things, to my GTOV roster. I'm not going to reveal them right now.
Oh, okay.
But I added a new one today that I'm pretty pleased with, and I'm excited. Obviously, I'm excited. I've spammed the shit out of you guys with promos and shit I'm working on for this thing.
Oh, they're both genius, both of them.
Thank you.
And I will say this: I was going to say the listeners will hate me forever after they hear the second one, but they're going to hate all of us forever. So it's just the way it works.
Yeah.
But me in particular, I will be the leader of the pack on that one, and then they'll hate the rest of you in lesser degrees. But they're going to hate all of us. But hey, what can we do? But yeah, GTOVs. Well, God, we're only about 3 weeks away.
We're
right?
coming up. Yeah, I mean, it's about that time. Not quite that time. We still. I mean, the time now feels like it lasts forever, especially when you're living somewhere fucking freezing like I am, where it's just Arctic.
Well,
shit.
Mike, I think you and I should just stay quiet on this.
Well, Mike, I would advise that you stay indoors for the next several weeks anyway. Seeing what's going on in Tampa last night.
It'll be fine. I hope.
No, sure. Nothing bad could come of large crowds face to face.
Yeah,
I'm trying to be an optimist. I'm trying to.
So
okay, it was fucking stupid. All right, what can I say?
We're now in that weird chasm of like it's the post Super Bowl lull where we have some NBA, we have a little sprinkling of hockey in there, we got some golf. I think NASCAR is coming up, or is it already started?
Yes, next week. Or this
Next week, okay.
the Daytona 500 is this Sunday, but there's stuff in between too that none of you guys care about.
Okay.
Well, you don't know that.
Okay, are you interested in the SC? I told you.
I mean, it's comforting. I'm just comforted by the fact that it's going to be occurring. I feel like there is. Again, it's just like I when I see golf occasionally on TV, I'll turn a golf game on. It's like, all right, golf is happening. The world, the gears of the world are running.
Well, my thing with NASCAR used to be that, and I'm going to bring up the weather again, but it was like my first sign of spring.
Yes,
was the Daytona 500.
Exactly. Yeah,
and down here it's like, well, I guess I'll just watch the race. But I was going to say, Andy, we talked about this a little bit on Twitter a couple days ago, but I have an idea for a show. I want to create the National Naming Commission.
Yes,
and we're going to go over names that are either stupid or don't work for the geography or whatever. And we're going to create this commission for sports names, street names, store names, you name it. We're going to fix all the names because I've seen some doozies down here. And
what were some of the ones you had? You had a good decent set already.
There's this town in Virginia called Wytheville, but it's spelled Wytheville. Like if you looked at it, just read it, you say Wytheville. You're Wytheville. You're not Wytheville. Wytheville sounds stupid. There's a town. Mike might even be familiar with this place. It's on John Mabry Road. It's a town called Lutz. Pronounce that for me.
Oh, Lutz.
Yeah, but it should be Lutz.
It should be Lutz. Yes.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
But it's Lutz.
There is a community, a housing, whatever you call it, a couple miles from here that has a sizable Jewish community in it with a street named Adolf running right down the middle of it. I'm thinking that's a bad idea. Right? So,
yeah. Well, like there was a few, like I was mentioning back to you, like stuff that's needlessly confusing. Like there's a Bloomington in Illinois and a Bloomington in Indiana. There's probably Bloomingtons in Iowa and all over the United States. We just need to pick one. You name the rest. We don't need all that.
Well,
like I told you, problem when you start applying that to Springfields.
Sure.
Right.
No, I mean, I don't care. It's like if Springfield, Missouri wants to claim it or something, and Illinois has to change the name, so be it. Call it like Lincoln Town or something. Just it doesn't matter. Like it's a town. Rename it.
I think I told Andy this. We have in Ohio, we have Sandusky, which is right on the lake where Cedar Point is. Pretty much the northernmost point of Ohio. We also have Upper Sandusky, which is about 90 minutes south of Sandusky. Now that is just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Yes, we should do the National Naming Commission. I think that would be fun.
Isn't it? Is that a case of like upper as in like a river?
Yeah, that's like in Canadian history, we have something like that where Ontario used to be called Upper Canada and Quebec used to be called Lower Canada, even though Quebec is more northern than Ontario because they were naming it in conjunction with the St. Lawrence River, where Ontario was upriver and Quebec was downriver, so upper and lower.
I just think that when Sandusky took the name, they took away any right that Upper Sandusky had to the river. So it was like, we can have to call it, we can be upper anything else, or we can just call ourselves Sandusky River. But you can't be Upper Sandusky and be below Sandusky. It makes no sense.
The name Sandusky is...
you should probably change that on principle, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but we're also discussing like maybe appending certain cities that need put colon and then something else. So like I'm trying to think of a good one here. Just like what did we say? Detroit?
Yeah, I said Detroit. People used to live here.
People used to live here. Yeah, is this kind of like better? People like, what's this town about? What's this big city about? Well, colon blah. Here's this. You can figure it out for yourself. But like maybe just have one, like rename a town. Like there's a town called Paris, Illinois. All right, and
Paris, Texas, by the way.
Paris, Texas is probably infinitely nicer than Paris, Illinois. Paris, Illinois is known for methamphetamine and teen pregnancies. Like that
is it spelled like Paris, France, or is it Perri?
No, it's spelled like Paris, France.
Paris.
We have
I think we even have a. Go
we
ahead.
We have a Paris in Ontario.
Yeah, and
in fact, Ontario used to have this cool setup where you had London, Paris, and Berlin all in Ontario, but then World War I happened and Berlin became Kitchener.
I was going to say they all got confused and war broke out up there.
I mean, you could probably look through the entire eastern seaboard and find a bunch of places named verbatim of places in England. You know, where it's just like how many Charlestowns or Charlestons there are, things like that. I mean. We need a refresher course, everybody.
Windsor, Ontario.
On the way from Ohio to Florida, there are at least two that you go through. So one in West Virginia.
Toronto used to be called York.
Really?
That's right.
Yeah.
See,
Toronto used to be called York.
The Canadian naming condition got right on that and said Toronto's a much better name, and they went with it.
Well, that one didn't even make sense because there is a York in England, and that's why they call
New York.
It's New York.
Mm-hmm.
Although that was New Amsterdam. Why they changed it, I can't say.
Because the British took it over.
Well, people just liked it better that way. Like,
okay.
Did you guys
people out there listening to this and know exactly what I'm talking about, and they're laughing. But that's fine.
Did you guys
have a chance Anybody?
I know that. I know the band. Yeah, I guess
well, they had a song that Istanbul was Constantinople. Now it's Istanbul, Constantinople.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Animaniacs.
It's nobody's business but the Turks. Anyway.
Okay.
It's fun, and I learned it from Tiny Toons Adventures as a child.
No, I know the song. I know. I'm familiar with it.
Go have fun with your lives.
I'm familiar with it. I do have fun with my life.
We don't need to talk about it tonight, but did you guys have a chance to watch or read about that offsides thing? The Columbus
I watched it. Wow.
I don't even know how that happens.
Oh, the NHL.
Such a mess.
I mean, I think it could be really fascinating.
The NHL is such a goddamn mess right now with all the COVID postponements that are going on.
It's making planning fantasy a bitch.
Oh my god, yeah. When your team's out for like a week, they say, "Oh well, they can go on IR." Well, here's the problem: you can only have so many goddamn players on your team. I ran into a situation where I put all those guys on IR, and I couldn't fill all the spots because ESPN won't let me. You can't have more than like 28 people on the roster.
Well, not only that
includes the IR.
Not only that,
so it's all screwed up.
And not only that, but it's not like there are a bunch of great players out there in the player pool just waiting for a team.
Right. I know. Well, I went to go fill a goalie spot, and I'm like, they're all backups, and you don't know when these guys are playing because the starters are generally playing every game because there's hardly any back-to-backs, right?
Well,
so it's a complete crazy.
I'm carrying 3 goalies right now because they all suck. So it's like, well, I guess 3 is better than 2. But yeah, I keep thinking I got to find a better goalie to put in here, but there are none.
I mean, I've got Sherstecken and Reimer. I mean, that's what I'm trying to duel with. So it's like,
yeah.
I've got Elvis, not Presley, from the Blue Jackets.
Did you find another MAGA supporter to fill that roster?
No, Toledo's just gonna have to stay Toledo. It's not gonna be great again. I couldn't find another one.
Yeah, funny how the Rangers asked everyone in the league if somebody wanted to trade for him, and nobody did. It's really strange how that happens. It also doesn't help that he, wanted to fight the goalie after losing in overtime one game. But, no, the NHL is weird because congratulations, Mike, to the Canadian Scotia division, the Scotia North division.
North division presented by Scotiabank.
They're the only division to have no team have to postpone games due to COVID. So
it's almost like Canada knows how to healthcare now. Okay.
I know that you have situations where, like, if you look at the NHL standings, there are some teams like the if you look at the Western Division, like all these teams are so close together in points, but that's because some teams have played like 5 or 6 games more than Vegas or Minnesota or Colorado. Because they can't play for a week at a time.
Also, I would just like to reiterate, fuck Vegas.
Yeah. Well,
while we're here too, because we haven't got it in yet, fuck Russell Wilson. too. By the way, for
Yeah,
the
fuck
didn't
him.
he win the Walter Payton Man of the Year award yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which means he's gonna wear that stupid patch from now on.
Yep.
Well, the reason I brought up the Blue Jackets thing was that I think it's going to lead to a really cool thing, a really fun NHL thing, to where the league office can just pause a game. I feel like what'll happen is that if something like this happens again, and they have a moment where the officials make the wrong decision, a blatant wrong decision, and something gets caught up and they need to stop, you'll just like the lights in the arena will flash a few times and play will stop because the league office is like calling. I hope they have like a big red phone that like
Are they
lights
gonna
up.
have a video live feed of Gary Bettman on the big red phone as he
Right,
tries
it'll
to
be
sort
For
this out?
people that don't know what we're talking about, by the way, for people that don't know what we're talking about, the Hurricanes scored a goal, and the Blue Jackets challenged it because they thought it was offsides.
And it was.
The referees decided no, it was an onside goal, so a minor penalty got charged to Columbus.
Yeah,
that
game.
penalty bled over the intermission into the next period. During the intermission, the referees went back and looked at the tape again and said, "Oh, actually, he was offside, but because we're already so far past it now, the goal is going to stand, but we're going to take away the remaining 45 seconds of power play that they have to start the period. We can't go back and take the goal off." And
sure you can.
Yeah, you can.
You've already played some of the time on the penalty kill, but now we're gonna wash our hands of it and move on, right? Everything's good.
Just out of curiosity,
But it ended up being a 1-goal game.
not only that, but let's just say for a second that Carolina scores on that power play. Now where are we?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It could have been worse.
Yeah, and well, to go into slightly more detail, it was a mix-up because there was the league office people misheard stuff, and then they took the headphones off too soon, and then there's a COVID person that cleans the headphones between each use. And
only
so
in the goddamn NHL would this happen.
It was such an OITGD NHL moment.
Yeah.
But it was great to see Tort's press conference because he was so close. I mean, Torts is usually just like spitting and shitting fire, and he's just like, "I'm gonna let the league handle this." It was bullshit.
I was quite disappointed because I was.
I'm hoping for like wrath of God Torts, but no.
Yeah.
I saw that on Twitter and I was like, "Oh, Torts must be just going apoplectic on the bench right now."
Nope.
Nothing.
Yeah, but it was hard to be mad at it though from just from a neutral perspective because I mean it was just a bunch of people fucking up in Symphony. It wasn't anything like nefarious or just my interpretation was wrong. It was just gobbledygook silly shit.
It's so good because it's totally like we fucked up because like the person who cleans the headphones for COVID protocols like delayed the information for getting like it's like only the NHL could. It's like, yes, good job NHL, you have basic sanitary standards, and also this happened, good job.
Well, you take the good with the bad, I guess.
No, this is beautiful. This is beautiful.
Sanitary standards for the NHL, so they've done these things this week to like take the glass out from behind the bench so there's more airflow and bullshit like that. But like the biggest thing that has happened in terms of COVID in the NHL is this Sabres Devils games from like last weekend, where the Devils had a couple like 4 or 5 guys that were on the COVID list played a game in Buffalo against the Sabres. In the day in between, the Devils then revealed that actually now we have 16 or 14 guys that are positive, so we're going to cancel the next game. So the Sabres were rightfully pissed to be like, wait a second, you just let like 13 guys that were COVID positive play against us, and you didn't know? Mm-hmm. And so what happens then is now the Sabres are up to like 9 guys that are on the COVID list, and they've had games postponed. And it came out, I think yesterday, 2 of the linesmen from that game who haven't done any games since then have tested positive for COVID since that game.
You'd almost think
now you have evidence of like on ice transmission between all these guys, and it's like, what the hell are you doing?
you would think that it might not be the best idea to let a bunch of people sit in close quarters on a bench like that.
What's so funny is like they have all these things in place where they're like, oh, we're going to space out the lockers, or we're going to open the airflow, and it's like you can do all the shit you want outside of the game. You're still sitting in close quarters on a bench for 45 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
I all I'm going to say is, you say you say that, Greg, but once again, Canada proves the best way because no, this shit's affecting the North. The North presented by Scotiabank.
Not yet. Not yet.
We're gonna up in the North. We're just gonna finish the season, and we're just gonna be waiting for the rest of y'all to
declare yourselves champions.
Yeah, we're just gonna finish the season, and then when
that's one way to get the cup back, I guess.
Oh yeah, we're gonna finish the season, and then when the rest of the fucking league all dies of COVID or whatever, we're just gonna be like, oh well, all right, we're just gonna take our 4 best teams. We're gonna have a mini Stanley Cup playoffs, and that'll be it.
I would like that.
There's already precedent, Mike. If this was the situation, go back to 1919 Stanley Cup Final, you would just not award the cup that year. And wouldn't that be just like chef's kiss irony to have the Toronto Maple Leafs finally in place? Like, oh, everybody else is getting COVID. We're healthy. We're good. We're the best team around. Oh wait, no, we're not going to hold the cup final this year. Sorry, the Maple Leafs. No.
Yeah, well, there's almost a Canadian precedent for that with the Expos in the strike season in '94. So yeah, it's happened before. They'll get used to it.
Well, before we sign off for the evening, so next week, next Wednesday, don't forget.
Oh yeah,
there'll be we're going to be talking to Chris Creamer and Paul Lucas, talking to them about their Unified podcast. First episode came out last week, and it's best experienced on YouTube for what it's worth, because you get to look at. They talk about some of the stuff they're wearing. You get to see some of the collection and the background that they each have, and I assume there'll be another episode before we talk to them, maybe. But yeah, we'll talk to them next week, and I don't know if it's going to go out the same night because we'll be recording Wednesday evening. But yeah, we'll have that up as soon as it's ready and for the world to enjoy it.
Also,
they were there. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, check out our Discord. We have one of those.
Yeah, sure. The link for the Discord is in the Twitter. You go to our Twitter page and it's linked there.
I'll have to put it on the actual profile on our Twitter page. So I will do that.
It will be there.
I will say this. I think the Twitter Discord likes it better when we're not around. But
it seems to run a lot more activity when we're just
I went in there during halftime. I'm like, wow, where do these people come from?
Yeah, so
we had a good time talking. We did a thing where we talked to Kyle, Chaos Blast, yesterday for a while, which was fun.
That was fun. Yeah, it's cool to have a bunch of people who normally listen in and participate. It's cool. Again, we're small, close knit bunch of community in the logo thing, and having a chunk of them come and hang out with us in the Discord and people from Twitterverse and stuff. It's cool. It's fun. Yeah. So hop in there and do that. So look for that link.
And we'll promise to stay away as much as possible so you guys can enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, but
anyway, anything else? Okay,
no, it's going to be a fun week next week. So I don't know what we're going to talk about on the show, but we certainly got the
National Naming Commission.
Oh yes, of course, yes. So
yeah, we'll find. We always find something. Next week might be a good
MLB hot stove.
We got some hockey jerseys to discuss possibly too. So
yes,
reverse retro stuff.
The on ice debuts of all the.
I thought it was curious. Was it the Dodgers that signed Trevor Bauer?
Yep.
Yeah, not the Mets. So that was a reporting fuck up.
Oh well, I speaking of the Mets, our long lost friend Tank from the boards. God bless him. Got to fly on a private jet with Dave Portnoy Saturday.
What, did he go with Portnoy?
Yeah,
is that who he was with?
Yep.
Yeah. And he went to Detroit.
Well,
yeah, I think I said just his luck. He gets to fly on a private jet, but it's going to Detroit in February.
Not only that, you guys should go look through his Twitter feed just because the week prior to that, or like a couple days prior. I don't know if you guys know, Barstool owns this fighting ring called Rowdy.
Yeah.
And so Tank got to go to the last event. Who was fighting in this event but Jose Canseco. And Tank was just living it up in terms of giving Jose Canseco shit to his face or in his around him in his hair. It was an odd sight to behold.
And just to think, if we hadn't banned him from the boards, none of this probably ever happens.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
But yeah, I just wanted to send out congratulations to him for flying on the private jet. Unfortunately, it went to Detroit, but what can you do?
Hey,
a flight on a private jet's a flight on a private jet, man.
For shizzle.
So, all right, so are we done?
Yeah, I got nothing else, guys.
All right. Well, then we will see you next week, folks. As always, follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Check out the Discord, which I will post a link to in our Twitter bio. Subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever fine podcasting is sold and all that good stuff. And we will talk to you next week.
Latest.
Goodbye.
Adios.